Hare Krishna, Sukhirti Madhvi, welcoming all of you for Gita Made Easy Session 6. So today we are going to discuss a very beautiful and interesting topic, Dhyan Yoga. But before we go into Dhyan Yoga, let us all chant this prayer which I have been telling that this is the prayer for my most preeminent Siksha Guru. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So paying respect to the one who has given us this Bhagavad Gita as it is, which would be like the reference book for this course, let us begin our session today. So this is the overview of chapter 5, which we discussed much in detail. A very interesting chapter indeed, where the first part we discussed about be like a lotus leaf. So Krishna is giving the example there to be like a lotus leaf, and he talks about do the duties and be detached from the result. So just like the lotus leaf which is in water, so it is in water but it is detached from the water. Water does not affect it, water does not make it wet, etc. So similarly here Krishna is saying that do the duty but be detached from the results. And how we be there, how can we be detached from the result? So for that we saw the 4 pillars of dharma. So we saw the 4 pillars of dharma on which the dharma stands, and we also discussed about the A, B, C and D. The second section was about 3 doers, where we understood that how there are actually 3 doers, not 1, not 2, but 3. So one is the body, second is the soul, and third very significant portion what we discussed was about the super soul. When we were discussing the body, we also heard about why do we get a new body, what do we get along with the body, and how do I get a body. So all that we have covered there in the second section. In the third section, we discussed about equal vision. So when a person gets to know these 3 doers, then he acquires the equal vision towards everyone. So this equal vision, we discuss the effect and we also discuss the implication. So how does it imply to me, and how we see the whole world in the light of those equal vision. The fourth point was introduction to Ashtanga Yoga. So there was just one specific verse and then, 2 specific verse about Ashtanga Yoga. And today's chapter is completely dedicated to Ashtanga Yoga. We would be discussing in detail at length as what are the practices and what are the challenges. Fifth one was the peace formula, where Krishna gave a formula and he said, understand God as he wants us to, and know God and then know peace. So when we know Krishna is the everything, when we know Krishna, we do everything for his pleasure. We understand that he is the proprietor of all planets and demigod and well-wisher of everything. So that understanding, when we get, my dear devotees, then we start acting in a manner which is very, very pleasing to Krishna. So this is what we have studied till yesterday. Proceeding further, so the key learnings from chapter 6. So in today's section, we are going to check how to control the mind. So this mind is so difficult to control. It keeps on jumping from one place to another. Now you're watching the session and the mind may travel to so many other places while watching the session. So how do we control the mind? What happens if one is unable to attain perfection? So I'm trying to control the mind. I'm trying my best, but yet I'm not succeeding. What happens to me? And the third is, which is the best yoga processes? So Krishna has been describing various yoga processes, and by the end of today's chapter, he would tell which one is the best. So we have already discussed about Karma Yoga and a little bit about Jnana Yoga. Today we would see about Ashtanga Yoga, and then he would say which is the best. So this is what we would be discussing today. Today's chapter has total 47 verses, which are divided into 4 sections. The first section is mind, enemy or friend. As I was saying, how can I make my mind a friend? How can I use my mind and progress in a manner that my life becomes very, very auspicious? The second portion is Ashtanga Yoga. So we would see various practices of Ashtanga Yoga and what are the rules and regulations. So Ashtanga Yoga actually refers, like these days we commonly understand it as Hatha Yoga. And what our understanding of yoga is, actually it is a very tiny portion of this Ashtanga Yoga. So it is basically physically controlling the mind, the process of physical mind control. The third section is destination of an unsuccessful yogi. So Arjun starts thinking, when Krishna describes this whole process of Ashtanga Yoga, Arjun starts thinking that, oh, this sounds very difficult. What if I do not succeed? What if I am unsuccessful? So then he asks Krishna the question, and Krishna replies there that what is the destination if a person is not successful? And the fourth section is where Krishna talks about the topmost yogi. So these are the four sections, and getting into the first one, mind, enemy or friend. So let's see what Krishna is telling here. So in this section, actually we would understand two aspects. One is the nature of the mind. How does mind behave? So that is the first aspect. And second is about the yoga. So this yoga is specifically meant for mind controlling and then progressing in the spiritual life onward. So come, we will discuss these as it comes. So here is verse number 6 from chapter 6, and it says, Bandhur atmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmana jitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. So if you notice, two words are underlined here. One is Bandhur and second is Shatrutve. So Bandhu and Shatru. Now what is the meaning of Bandhu? Bandhu means a dear friend and Shatru is a enemy. So this verse, the translation says, for him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So this is how the mind behaves. Actually, mind gathers information, mind gathers perception based on our senses. So I may smell something nice. I may feel something nice against my skin. I may hear something sweet and nice. Or I may hear some gossip and the mind gets attracted to that. So if the mind gives in to the senses, then the mind behaves like an enemy. And if I can control my mind, then mind becomes the friend. So those aspects are being explained here with the nature of the mind, whether my mind is a friend or enemy. So actually, mind is just like a small child. And the nature of mind is, I want this. I want this. I don't want this. I want this. I don't want this. I want this toy. Now I don't want the toy. I want this cloth. Now I don't want the cloth. I want this girl or a boy. And now I don't want. So like that, mind keeps flickering. Mind accepts and rejects. If we don't get what the mind wants, what happens? We get extremely frustrated. And if we get what my mind wants, I'm happy for some time. And then after a while, I want something else. So the mind keeps flickering. It does not stays at one place. In fact, it's just like a monkey. So if you have noticed a monkey jumping from branches to branches, especially if you have been to Vrindavan, oh my God, there are so many monkeys jumping here and there. Exactly, that's how our mind behaves. It keeps jumping from one thought to another, from one choice to another, from one like to another, something we like, and in some time it becomes our dislike. Some hobby we start cultivating, and then we feel, okay, enough of it. Like I want to learn dance. I start practicing. I learn for 1 or 2 years, and then suddenly I say, no, I don't want to do it. I want to do something else, right? Or I want to learn classical dance, and then I want to do Zumba. So like that. So mind keeps jumping. So now the nature of the mind is it can either be one's friend or it could be one's enemy. So what is the meaning of friend? Friend is someone who supports me in all what I want to do in life. So that is a constant support or a cushion. Friend is also my critic. So It's not that the friend is always sugar coated and says everything what I want. But if he sees that I'm doing something wrong, then my friend corrects me there. And my friend would have a favorable attitudes towards me. So he would assist me in achieving my life's goal. That person is known as a friend. And who's an enemy? Enemy is someone who blocks our progress, who misguides us, who cheats us, who keeps me away from my goal. So such a person is my enemy. So the nature of mind is either it is friend or it is enemy. So when it is friend, what it does as a friend? So first is it allows me to follow the directions. So yesterday we read A, B, C, D. Association of devotees, books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting and following a Krishna conscious diet where we offer everything to Krishna and we accept the prasad. So now these are some of the directions. So if my mind is assisting me, so I, like all of us, attended yesterday's session and we feel very inspired. Yes, this is good. Like we were going through your comments and so many of you have mentioned what all you would start doing from yesterday itself. So now, if my mind is my friend, then it would tell me, ki, okay, you have decided to chant. Let us start chanting from tonight itself. But if it is my enemy, it will say, okay, I have decided, but maybe we will chant from tomorrow, or maybe we'll see some next auspicious day and then we would start. So that is not a friendly advice there. So the mind helps us in following the direction. It helps us in making progressive, health and healthy choices. So it encourages us to follow those things which are favorable for our spirituality, because then the mind understands that my ultimate goal is not to get locked up here with all these tiny little pleasurable things. My life's goal is something different. I want to get out of this cycle of birth and death. I do not want to come to this material world. I want to go to the spiritual world. I want to do things for pleasure of Krishna. So the mind must understand that if the mind is friend. And then the mind helps us in detachment from sense gratification. So there are so many things into which our mind gets dragged. These are, when we say sense gratification, it means that the object which gives us temporary pleasure, but it does not help in any way moving towards Krishna. For example, we discussed yesterday the 4 regulative principles. So now these regulative principles are for healthy living, for happy living, and from detachment from sense gratification. So if my mind gets corrupted, if I start liking somebody, let's say somebody else's husband or wife, now it is not good for me. And such an attraction, it goes so deep in me that I would constantly think of that person of opposite sex. So what is happening is such a thought is not a healthy thought. It is not a healthy choice. It would ruin 2 families in material world. And more importantly, I'll not be able to progress spiritually. So I need to control my senses. I need to be detached from sense gratification. So if the mind is a friend, then it assists us in doing that. And then when we act in such a manner, then the result is freedom and elevation. So we get freedom from Adi-Daivik, Adi-Bhautik and Adhyatmic type of miseries. We get freedom from this material world and we rise above to the spiritual world. So this is the function of mind when it is friend and when the same mind becomes the enemy. So what it starts doing, it follows the sinful desire. So anything what I want to enjoy, I reason it out. My mind reasons it out that it is okay. What is the big deal? Anyways, I am observing so many wonderful spiritual practices. So it is okay to eat meat once in a while, for example, right? So follow the sinful desire. And as a result of that, because to the degree we are sinful, we would be in this irritated, agitated condition. We would always follow the sinful desires like greed, lust, anger, and hatred. And then ultimately, I would be attached to sense gratification. So whatever my mind says, whatever I want to acquire, and my mind would justify that. So then if that is happening, then actually mind is acting like an enemy. And the result is that we degrade and we are unable to get out of this cycle of birth and death. So famous demons like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha. So what was their problem? They were too deep into sense gratification. For example, Ravan went to the degree that he forcibly kidnapped somebody else's wife. And he was constantly forcing Sita Devi to submit it to him. So we all understand from ethical principles it is not proper. And Ravan, he is known as a Pandita of his time. So of course he knew what he was doing. But then that is what he was doing. Hiranyakashipu, he wanted to enjoy, his whole life revolved around gold, which represents wealth, and around opposite sex. So this is what his whole life revolved around. He was such a demoniac king there. So what is happening to such personalities is that they are so much into sense gratification. So they do not stop themselves. They do not check when they know that they are wrong. Their mind is the enemy, and the mind allows them to do everything. And now one other interesting thing, that earlier times, actually, demons were separate, like Hiranyakashipu was there, or Ravana was there. So demons were separate and the divine personalities were separate, like Lord Ramachandra was there, Prahlad Maharaj was there. So demon and divine were separate. But now in current time, what is happening? Everything is within me. I myself behave like a demon at times, and I myself behave like divine. So it depends on how my mind is behaving. So sometimes my mind says, okay, let us chant Hare Krishna, Krishna. Oh, come on, let's watch the movie. It is very boring now. Chanting anyways. Who has seen what will happen? Whether I'll get any result or not. What is the guarantee? At least let me enjoy in the moment. Let me have fun as of now. So what is happening is both the thoughts or both the voices are coming from within. So one is helping me progress spiritually, and the second one is like tying me down. Now, those of you who are watching us live there, so some of you are there on YouTube and some of you are there on Facebook, and many of you requested to block the YouTube chat because continuously people were chatting also. So when we are listening to some divine spiritual instruction, it is very important for us to focus. The mind has to focus. But then, because the mind is not able to focus, so we start typing things. Right? So that is actually a distraction. That is not the purpose. See, we have not come here to chat. We had come here to learn. So my house then like focusing. Of course, clearing your doubt and asking questions, that is different. But continuously getting into some discussion over there. So which means that the mind is behaving like an enemy. So here is a life lesson. I am not this body. I am not this mind also. By Lord's grace, I can control the mind. So as we have heard in the second chapter that I am not the body, in today's section, we are learning that I am not the mind. And this mind can be controlled by intelligence. There is how to control the mind, the question arises. So here we come to yoga now. So yoga redefined. First, let us understand what is yoga. So yoga means union between individual consciousness and supreme consciousness. And what is not yoga? So we get confused with breathing exercises. Inhale deeply, exhale completely. So we think that that is yoga. Or we think some other physical exercises, like we stand in different postures, we lie down in different postures for a healthy body. So do a particular thing and your thyroid gets controlled. Do another asana and you will not have problem for constipation. So like that, there are different things for healthy body. Or going to Haridwar, Himalayas. So leave everything and let's go to some sacred place. Or better facility for sense enjoyment. So actually, my dear friends, these are not what the purpose of yoga is. This is not yoga. These may be seen some elements of yoga, but this is not what yoga means. Yoga means union. Union implies two people, two different things, and that is how they unite. If they are already united, then there is no yoga. So yoga actually means union of me as in the soul, with the Supreme Lord. So that process of connecting to the Supreme is termed as yoga. And what we do, these breathing exercises or the physical exercise or going to a sacred place, so all these things are essential elements which helps us in connecting to the Supreme. But the goal is to connect to the Supreme. So yesterday or day before yesterday, we all celebrated International Yoga Day. So it's a good time to see what Krishna has to say about yoga. So Krishna has given various yoga systems. It is not just the pranayam and the asanas, but Krishna has given various yoga systems, and we have been discussing about them. So you see the yoga ladder we discussed in the third day, and here it is in front of you. So the bottom rung is Sakam Karma. So Sakam means I am doing any activity for some calm, or for some calm means lust. So for my personal enjoyment. So I want certain things and I want a result. So I want to enjoy the result. So I'm performing a sacrifice or I'm chanting some mantra because that would give me something in return. And what I want is a material thing where we can enjoy my life better. So I may do certain upcharas. I may go to an astrologer and he sees my jatakam and he tells that there are some problems are there, and you must like feed, let's say 10 dogs, right? Some upcharas he give, and we start doing those things. So, or otherwise, even if we are worshipping the Supreme Lord, we organize the Satyanarayan ki Katha, but then we want something else for me. So the center is not Krishna, the center is me. I want to enjoy. So that is Sakam Karma. So what happens is I do some pious ritualistic activities, I get nice result, and I stay happy. So I forget about Krishna then, because I'm happy here. Whenever I want something, I go and I do certain remedies for that, or puja, archana for that, and I get that. The second one is Nishkam Karma Yoga. So the problem with Sakam Karma Yoga is I become happy with the results and I continue to enjoy here. The second is Nishkam, where I am performing some activities, but I do not desire any result. I just want to do things as a duty. So we have discussed in detail this Nishkam in chapter 3, 4 and 5, where Krishna was talking about detachment from the results. So he's saying that do your duties, but be detached from the result. Do not enjoy your result. Like we were seeing yesterday, like a lotus leaf. So be detached. So now these people are happy people, because the problem arises when we expect a certain result and they do not expect anything. So that way they are happy people. But what the problem happens to them is they get attached to their duties. So they are attached to their duties. They are busy doing good. And as we read in the 4th chapter, that we are doing good or pious activity, that also becomes a binding. So they also do not progress towards the Supreme Lord. They also do not work in a manner of getting out of the cycle of birth and death. They are happily doing their duty. The third one is Gyan Yoga. So Gyan Yoga again, now these people are those who understand that there are 3 doers. We read yesterday. So they understand that there are 3 doers. They understand the futility of the material world, and then they are neither attached to the work nor they aspire for fruits. But what do they look for? So they have understood that this material world is a place of misery, and that is why they want to merge into Brahman. They want to become one with the Supreme Lord. So that is another desire what they have, as to they want to merge in the Supreme Brahman. So we saw Sakam Karma Yoga. So these are those people who are attached to their results. They want certain things from Krishna, and that is why they go to him. Nishkam Karma Yoga, they are doing their activities and they are not attached to the result, but they get attached to the duties, and that is why they do not focus on getting out of the material world. Jnana Yoga, though they are aware of everything, and they want to get out of the material world. But then the focus is again that they want something from Krishna. So they are not like offering themselves, they want something, they are seeking something, they are seeking a cessation of all their miseries, they are looking for merging into the Supreme Lord. The fourth one, Ashtanga Yoga. Now these people, they desire or they get some siddhis. So there are various siddhis like prapti. So sitting here and I can just close my eyes and desire something from the US and it comes in front of me. So that is prapti. So sitting at one place, but by mind I travel the other place and I acquire the thing. There is another siddhi called laghima, where you become smaller than the smallest, or sometimes you become lighter than the lightest. So there are different siddhi, and Hanumanji was actually the emblem of all. In Hanuman Chalisa, there's a line, Ashta Siddhi Ke Dasbata. So Ashta Siddhi, there are 8 siddhis, mystic siddhis, and he perfected. Did not aspire for that. I mean, he had those, but he did not aspire for that. So now the point is talking about these. So these Ashtanga yogis, they get engaged or entangled in these. So these siddhis also have a beginning and an end. It is again not permanent. So it is temporary. So this is what they get entangled into. This Ashtanga Yoga process is basically physically controlling the mind. So this is what the chapter is all about. We will be discussing in a short while. And then the top rung of the ladder where we see Bhakti Yoga. So now this Bhakti Yoga is the process where the devotee does not desire anything for himself, where he is doing all his activities as an offering to the Supreme Lord, where I don't want any result, I am not attached to the duties, I don't want to merge, I don't want mystic power. What do I want? I want Krishna to be happy. So this is actually the topmost, the Bhakti Yoga. And to understand this, like as we can see, there are steps. So if I have to go, let's say to the top floor of a building, so either I can take steps, first floor, second floor, third floor, and then finally I reach the top floor, or there's an elevator. So elevator I take and I can straight away reach the terrace. So similarly, this process of Bhakti Yoga, it's like an elevator which can, wherever we are situated in our life, the only thing is we have to develop a desire to serve Krishna, and then I can directly be transferred to that platform. So this is Bhakti Yoga. So now what is my goal in life? And on that basis, I decide which process to follow. So do I want to merge in the Supreme Lord? Do I want certain results, some happiness, like I want my son or daughter to get married, or I want a job, or I want a house? So is that what I'm looking for? Or I want certain mystic powers. I want to prove that, oh, he's such a powerful person or she's such a powerful person. Or I want to please Krishna. So based on that, I have to choose a path. So here is a life lesson. You choose your goal and that defines your role. So what is my goal in life, where I want to go, and on that basis, I take the path. So moving to the second section now, and this section in detail, we would discuss about Ashtanga Yoga or Hatha Yoga. We also say it as Hatha Yoga. So we would discuss two aspects of this. One is the practices, which is the physical practice and the mental practice. So physical level, how can we control the mind, and mental level, what we have to perform. And then we would also see what are the difficulties. So let us get into this exciting Ashtanga Yoga and find out what all is there. So if we read verse number 11 and 12 of chapter 6, then Krishna is giving certain instructions to Arjun. He starts with telling that go to a secluded sacred place. So first find out a secluded sacred place, like, I don't know, like maybe some place in Himalayas, because these days Prayag and Varanasi and Haridwar, Kashi, all these places, they are quite jam-packed. So it is not secluded anymore. So probably yes, in Himalaya. So go to a secluded sacred place, lay a kusha grass, cover it with deer skin, and then Krishna says that fix your seat there, neither too high nor too low, and meditate upon me. So this is also indicating that one may have to leave his family behind and go and stay alone in such a place. And this is not all. There are further more instructions. So here Krishna is saying, Samam kaya shirogrivam dharayan achalam sthiraha samprekshya nasikagram svam dishaschana valokayan. Samam kaya shirogrivam. He is saying, hold your body erect. And kaya means body, you are holding straight, and shirogrivam. So he is telling that the neck and the head has to be in a straight line. So this is the posture. Krishna is talking about the posture. Dharayan achalam sthiraha. And this position you have to hold achalam, sthiraha, which means no movement, constant, sthir, completely, constantly, you hold this position. Sampreksha nasika agram. Nasika means nose, agram means in the front portion. So what you have to do is, Krishna is telling, don't close your eyes sitting in that position on sleep of Arjun. Look at the tip of your nose. Eyes half closed, look at the tip of your nose. And then what he says, Prashantatma vigat bhira brahmachari vrate sthitaha manah samyamya machitto yukta sitamat paraha. Prashantatma vigat bhira. Prashantatma means in this way, without any agitation, you focus on me, and vigat bhira, free from fear. Now imagine you are sitting in a forest completely alone. Nobody is around there. Except the snakes, the beasts, different types of animals. So, but vigat bhira, you have to be free from fear. So fearlessly you sit in such place and you follow complete brahmacharya. Brahmachari vrate sthitaha. So this brahmacharya is like complete celibacy. Not even in thoughts you are thinking of the opposite sex. That is how you meditate upon me. Yukta asit matparaha. So let's read the translation. Krishna is saying, one should hold one's body and neck and head erect in a straight line, stare steadily at the tip of nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. So now these are the instructions which Krishna is giving Arjun if he wants to practice the process of Ashtanga Yoga. So this is Ashtanga Yoga. So a little more about this, when at the mental level what a person has to do, Krishna is explaining here. So that he explained the physical level, and mental he is saying, Yato yato nischalati manaschanchalamastiram tatastato niyam yaitat atmani eva vasham nayet. Yato yato nischalati, jahan kahin bhi man ja raha ho aapka, from wherever the mind wanders. Why would the mind wander? Chanchalam, asthiram. Mind is chanchalam, mind is flickering, mind is asthiram, mind is unsteady in nature. It cannot be at one place. See, we have already discussed, it is like a monkey. So wherever the mind is going because of its flickering and unsteady nature, tatas tatto niyamataid atmani eva vasham nayed. What, Arjun, you should do? Certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of self. So any thought is coming and then bring it back. Bring it back, bring it back. Bringing mind back to what? To Krishna. Krishna has said, in this way, meditate upon me. So this is Ashtanga Yoga. So mental practices with unagitated mind, no material desires, complete celibacy, and Krishna gives a beautiful analogy to explain that. So he says, just like a lamp when it is in windless place. So how the flame of the lamp becomes stable? It does not flicker. So that is what Krishna is telling, that this is how you have to bring your mind completely under control. So that is sthir. No movement. Mind completely focused on Krishna. This is what he's telling. And for that, Krishna also gives certain tips. He says that regulate your habit. So if we are regulated in our habit, then it becomes easy to fix. So regulate habit in the sense balance sleeping, balance recreation. So not that, okay, so I'm Netflixing today and then the whole night I binge watch certain series. So that is not balancing. So Krishna is telling regulate. So regulated hours we sleep, regulated hours we work, regulated time for recreation, and properly we eat, neither too much nor too little, sleeping neither too much nor too little. So that is how one has to regulate oneself to come at this process. And then Krishna also gives the 8-step process of Ashtanga Yoga. So as you can see here, now the first thing, it begins from Yama and Niyam. So Yam and Niyam refers to prohibitions and regulations, do's and don'ts. So certain things one is supposed to do and certain things are forbidden. So like yesterday when we read A, B, C, D, so those were the do's, and we read about 4 regulative principles, so those are don'ts. So anyway, so coming back to Ashtanga Yoga, so Krishna says first is do's and don'ts, and then third step is asana or posture. So what we do, Surya Namaskar, Makarasan, what else? There are so many asanas, right? So these all asanas or postures are actually to physically control the mind. So what does the yoga instructor says? Like my yoga instructor, when I would do these asanas, he would constantly repeat, surrender to the posture. Get into the posture, surrender to the posture. So what is happening is we get into difficult posture and we hold that posture. So when I'm holding that posture, my mind is not traveling all over the world. If my mind is traveling here and there, then I'll not be able to hold the posture. I mean, those of you who practice yoga would know that if you are getting too many thoughts, if the mind is diverted, then you can't hold a posture. So asanas, postures to control physically the mind. Then is pranayam. So pranayam is breathing. And again, breathing is intimately connected to the mind. So if I can capture or control my breathing, my mind can be controlled. So what we do pranayam, we think that the pranayam is, if I'm having headaches and I'll not get headache, my migraine problem would be solved, my sinus problem would be solved. And there are so many other health benefits we attach to that, and we think that that is the purpose of pranayam. So the purpose of pranayam is basically mind control. So when we are exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, so what is happening is my thought is focused on breathing. So this is how I control that. Next is pratyahar or withdrawal of senses. So gradually, the more and more I focus on the asanas, the lesser we get involved in other activities around us. So that is how one withdraws these senses. And then next 3 steps are dharan, dhyan and samadhi. So there are different gradations of meditational process, and it is suggested dhyan is actually an advanced stage. So if a person has to practice dhyan, then he has to leave the family and renounce. He has to renounce and go to Himalayas or somewhere, and he has to practice there. So these are the 8 processes of yoga. So what we understand is only asana and pranayam. But even before asana and pranayam, there are yam and niyam to be followed. So when we do all these things, and then we attain a position which is known as samadhi, and it takes like many, many years. Like you may not believe, but the yogis, the Ashtanga yogis who practice this, they live for 200, 300 years. They come down from the Himalayas only during the Kumbh Mela, when there is a gathering and we see that there are like hundreds and thousands of saints suddenly arrive, these different type of sages. Where they come from? So they are all staying in these secluded sacred places and they are practicing Ashtanga Yoga. It takes like years and years to perfect. It is not very easy. So there's a long elongated process and it requires one to renounce the active family life. So my dear friends, don't get scared. It is not the only process. Krishna has given so many processes and this is one such process. So when Arjun hears about this, Now he starts finding it difficult. This is what Arjun said. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balvadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayureva sudushkaram. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. Krishna, my mind is so chanchal. It is so restless. Pramathi balvadridham. It is so balvad. It is so strong and it is so dridham or obstinate. It is so stubborn. My mind is so stubborn, so flickering and so strong. So Arjun is asking, how can I do this? My mind has so many problems. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. To subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Now imagine Arjuna's prowess. He is not like us. He is a Maharathi. I mean, he's so powerful that in one day he defeated entire one Akshauhini Sena. That is how powerful Arjun is. And for Arjun, it is not difficult to control the direction of winds. He is such a Maharathi, he's such a bowman, he's such an archer that by his bow and arrow, he could actually change the direction of wind. And yet he's saying, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna. He's saying that mind is so difficult to control. So what to do? So what to talk of us? 5,000 years ago, when the situations were very favorable, when we would not keep getting notification on our phone every 10 minutes, and when we would not log in and check our Facebook every 5 or 10 minutes again, when there was not much distraction, that time Arjun found it difficult. So what to talk of us at this time? So this is the difficulty with Ashtanga Yoga. So actually the mind is like there is this chariot. So I want you to visualize this or focus this, that this is a chariot which has so many horses, 5 horses. Okay, so these 5 horses actually represent the 5 senses which we have. Then the rein represents the mind. The intelligence is the driver and soul is the passenger. So I am actually sitting and I am watching. Now, intelligence is supposed to control the senses through mind. But if the mind is running, like for example, I smell something good and I just want to eat. I hear some nice melody and I want to hear more. So this is how my 5 horses may start running in 5 different directions. Then what would happen to the passenger? So what we have to do is, we have to utilize the intelligence. Now, the purpose of intelligence is, intelligence tells this is right and this is wrong. This is right and this is wrong. So the driver has to be competent and he has to control the rein and he has to give the direction so that the mind does not run in different directions. So this is how we need to take complete control of our mind and senses by intelligence. And how do I sharpen by intelligence? I sharpen my intelligence by coming for Gita Made Easy classes. So when we hear certain things, like yesterday we heard about no intoxication. So today when somebody would offer you a drink and you would say, no, this is not okay. So my intelligence is telling, though my mind may want to drift along with that. So this is how we have to control. Also, in this current age, there is one more problem associated with current time. We do multitasking. And in multitasking, what is happening is all my horses are running in different directions. So I'm not able to focus on one thing. I am like scattered all over. So a lady of the house may be cooking and taking care of the child. I mean, teaching the child simultaneously, talking over the phone. So many things happen simultaneously. And what is the result? The result is everything happens imperfectly. There is no perfection anywhere. So here we get another life lesson that multitasking is actually reducing our attention span. Success comes from focus, not by dividing it. So we should not divide our focus. Otherwise, we may end up looking for, after Bhagavad Gita class, we may start attending mindfulness class. But the point is that we don't do multitasking. And how to control the mind? So now Krishna is telling, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Manodurnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagyena Chagrahyate. So he is giving 2 tips, Abhyas and Vairagya. So practice to control your mind. How do I practice? From wherever my mind is going, I bring it back. It goes again, I bring it back. It goes again, I bring it back. Abhyasayena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grahyate. Vairagyena means detachment. So I become detached, and this is how I can control my mind. So mind control is difficult, but not impossible. So continue practice till you succeed. So we keep doing that. Vairagya or detachment comes by following the 4 regulative principle, where I take a vow that I will not get into illicit relationship. I'll not do gambling. I will not get into the self-destructive habits. So then automatically, gradually, we get more and more detached. And then there is another life lesson, that don't spam your mind. So don't put too many things in your mind and it becomes completely confused. I'm in power of my little tiny mind and I'm giving it too many things to process. So don't spam your mind. Coming to the 3rd section. So now we saw that Krishna describes in detail, but Arjun actually gets scared when he hears everything. So Arjun starts asking that what would happen if I do not succeed? Okay, Krishna, you are telling to control the mind. I find it very difficult, but you are saying that no, I can control my mind. So now if I'm not able to control my mind and I die, what happens? Is it completely waste? It is just like if a person is doing, let's say, medicine, and he completes his first 2 years and then he fails. So he is neither a doctor nor a nurse, nor what is he? He's sort of useless in that medicine field. Right? So this is how Arjun is trying to find out that is this the time waste? What is it? So this is the next section. And here is Arjun asking. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism?" So in this process, if one does not attain perfection, what happens? So destination of an unsuccessful yogi. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashviti samaha shuchinam shrimatam gehe yogo bharshto bhijayate. So Krishna is explaining the unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. So prapya punya kritam lokan. So this person who is trying to attain the supreme through the process of Ashtanga Yoga. So what has happened is prapya punya, he has acquired lot of pious activities, and that is why he goes to the planet, to the higher planet. So we are staying in earth. He goes to the higher planet and he enjoys there. And then after some time, when he enjoys completely, then he comes and he takes birth again. And where he takes birth? Shuchi Nam Shrimatam Gehe. So Shuchi Nam and Shrimatam, 2 types, 2 categorization Krishna has given here. Let's see what it indicates. So Krishna is basically telling that if a person is trying to practice Ashtanga Yoga and falls down from beginner position, like he has done a little bit, he has not made so much of progress, but some progress, maybe 20%, 10%. So what happens to him? He goes to heavenly planet, he enjoys there, and then he takes birth in a rich and aristocratic family. So a very rich family who do not have any problem, money related problem, etc. So that the future is very comfortable. And when all these basic things in the life is met, then there is a possibility that the person takes up spirituality seriously. So that is the first option, that if a person has done like 10-20% progress, so this is the result. And second is when a person falls from advanced position, so then such a person takes birth in a spiritual family. So we would have noticed that some children, right from very young age, they have such deep inclination towards spirituality. Like I have certain students in my Gita Made Easy and other courses who are like really young, 8-year, 9-year-old children, and they are chanting and they attend all the classes. Now, these classes are meant for adults, but they attend with so much of interest and enthusiasm, and they start putting things into practice, and they ask their parents also to practice like that. So what has happened is that they have moved on in their spiritual journey quite a bit in their previous birth, and this birth they are just picking it up from where they left. So if somebody falls from advanced position, he takes birth in a family which is spiritual, so that becomes very favorable. The atmosphere is very, very favorable for that person to continue the journey onwards. So the whole point is that in this practice, there is no loss. The person is progressing. So whatever we do in spiritual life, we progress. Like if in this lifetime, if I become a multi-millionaire, if I have millions of rupees in my bank account, but the moment I die, it's all over. Next birth I take, I do not get that bank account again. But here we are seeing that this spirituality does not work like that. So whatever I have tried to advance, and then I continue ahead from that point onwards. So spirituality is actually a win-win situation always. So if I progress and I become perfect, perfect. If I progress but I could not become perfect, still perfect, because I will be given another opportunity to perfect myself. So that is what the understanding is. And now moving to the fourth section, the topmost yogi. So by now we have discussed various yoga processes. So a quick recap: Karma Yoga, two types of Karma Yoga, Sakam Karma Yoga and Nishkam Karma Yoga. Sakam is with desires, Nishkam is without desire, but then without desire like a lotus leaf, so detached from the results, and then you are acting. So this is Karma Yoga. You are still performing your duties, Karma Yoga. The next what we saw was Gyan Yoga, where we understand the three doers, we start working in that direction, we take a cognizance of Super Soul, we understand the Supreme Lord, and the problem there is that I want to merge in Brahma. So that was Gyan Yoga. The third is Ashtang Yoga, which we have been reading for last, 50 minutes almost. We have been discussing Ashtang Yoga. So Ashtang Yoga requires one to control the mind completely and focus it on the Supreme Lord. And this is how physically controlling the process of mind. And in this process, a person acquires certain mystic siddhis, and that siddhis causes a lot of distraction and deviation from the ultimate goal of life. So these processes Krishna has given. He has given Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Ashtang Yoga. Now for next 6 chapters, not 1, not 2, but next 6 chapters, Krishna is going to talk about Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga, as we saw on the ladder, it was at the topmost rung was the Bhakti Yoga. So that he is going to describe. So here in these two verses, 46 and 47, actually Krishna is going to introduce that Bhakti Yoga. So let's see what Krishna has to say about this topmost yogi. Tapasvibhyodhiko yogi jnanibhyopi matodhikaha karmibhyashchadhiko yogi tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. O Arjun, be a yogi in all circumstances. So mind you, when we are using this word yogi, it refers to a person who is trying to connect with the Supreme Lord. That is his ultimate goal of life. Processes can be different, goal is that. Okay, so Krishna is telling here, tapasvibhyodhiko yogi. Yogi is better than tapasvi. So tapasvi is one who performed difficult austerities like the Ashtang yogi we were discussing. So yogi, now here when Krishna is using this word yogi, he is specifically referring to a bhakti yogi. So he is telling yogi is better than tapasvi. Then he says, jnani bhyopi matodhikaha. Yogi is better than jnani. Karmi bhyaschadhiko yogi. Yogi is better than karma yogi. So all the 3 types of yoga, what we have discussed, Gyan Yoga, Ashtang Yoga and Karma Yoga, Krishna is telling that this type of yogi, which he'll describe in the next verse. So this type of yogi is the best, and be a yogi, O Arjuna. So in the next verse, so here actually all other yogas are progression towards the destination of Bhakti Yoga. So I may do Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, but ultimately I have to reach Bhakti Yoga. So that is the perfectional process. And what is this? Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mataha. So Krishna is describing yogi nam api sarvesham, means amongst the yogi he is the topmost yogi. Who is such a person? Madgatena antaratmana, who always thinks of me within himself. So he does not have to force his mind by physical capacities, but naturally, because he has so much of love for me, so he constantly thinks of me from within. Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam, he always serves me with lot of faith and devotion. So let's read the translation. Of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and he is the highest of all. And then at the end, Krishna says, Same yukta tamo mataha. That is my opinion. So this is what Krishna's opinion is, the one who has given different yoga processes. He is telling that Bhakti Yoga is the best. So a little explanation, Mad Gate Nantaratmana. So this person is always abiding in me. His thought always is engaged in Krishna. So just like when we love a person, can be my child. So if I am attached to my child, if I love my child, so many things around the house also reminds of my child. So even if my child has gone to school and I'm sitting at home, but I see his toy, I see his socks, and then I'm reminding of my baby. So similarly, the devotee's mind is always absorbed in this thought of how to please Krishna, how to satisfy Krishna. He's always remembering Krishna. And then what he does, not only remembers, Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam, he renders service unto me. So bhaja means service. It is an activity. So with lot of love and devotion, active service for Krishna. So this is what the devotee is doing. So why Bhakti Yoga is topmost? Now here I have written few things. First is it guarantees the maximum result. It actually takes us to Krishna. So we discussed day before yesterday about Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagwan. Bhagwan is the highest. Bhagwan is the one with whom I can have various relationships. So this Bhakti Yoga is the only process, one and only process, which gives me that result of having a relationship with Krishna. Second is minimum effort. Even a 2-year-old child can start the process of Bhakti Yoga just by enjoying the kirtan going on, just by singing some little Hare Krishna. Minimum effort. No qualification. Anyone, anywhere can do it. Karma Yoga, you need some wealth to perform the sacrifices. Jnana Yoga, you need some intelligence. Ashtanga Yoga, you need a physically healthy body and a stable mind. But when we talk about Bhakti Yoga, it is like, Deen Bandhu Deena Nath, Meri Dori Tere Haath. All my reins are in your hand. I am your puppet. You do whatever you want me to do, Krishna. Then next is, it is completely sin-free. So Krishna says, we will read in 18th chapter, Sarva dharman parityagya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ishami ma shuchaha. Krishna says, I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Ma shuchaha. Do not fear. So Krishna is giving us that guarantee. Krishna takes the complete control of those who are performing this process of Bhakti Yoga. So these are the advantages of Bhakti Yoga which Krishna has described, and the destination of these Bhakti Yoga is Golok Vrindavan. So we reach to that supreme abode of Krishna and we can connect to the Supreme Lord in various types of relationship. So there are 5 relationships it is described, which is written at the bottom of the slide. So one is the Shantras. So I can be just like a peacock or a tree or a cow, just silently observing Krishna. Then the second can be Dasyaras. I serve Krishna as a servant. Third is in Sakhyaras. So I become a friend of Krishna, a Gopa, like Madhumangal, like Sridama. So I become a friend of Krishna. Fourth is in Vatsalya Ras. So I serve Krishna, I become attached to Krishna, just like how Mother Yashoda is. So I see Krishna as my small child. I develop that type of relationship with Krishna. And fifth is Madhurya Ras, where I connect with Krishna as a lover. So these are the results which a person derives when he practices Bhakti Yoga. So from tomorrow onward, we would be seeing in detail about this process of Bhakti Yoga. Actually, Bhagavad Gita is basically to give us this process of Bhakti Yoga. 6 chapters are straight away dedicated to that. So with this, we are coming to an end of today's section, and let's have a chapter overview here. So we discussed in the first section about mind, the nature of mind, how the mind is either a friend or an enemy. We also discussed about the yoga. So yoga redefined, and we discussed various yoga ladder, where we discussed different type of yoga practice. Second was Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga, we discussed the physical requirements, the mental requirements, and then how Arjun expresses his inability to doing these things, where he says, Chanchala hi manah Krishna. Then third, we spoke about destination of an unsuccessful yogi. So if somebody is striving hard, but he is not able to perfect, what happens to such a person? He takes birth either in a spiritual family, or he goes to heaven, enjoys there, and comes back here again, and he takes birth in a rich aristocratic family. So that is the result. When we are talking about heaven, heaven is actually within this material world. Heaven is not spiritual world. Heaven is a higher planetary system. We would discuss more in the upcoming sessions about that. So that is how he goes there, and yet he comes back. In the fourth section, we discussed about the topmost yoga system, the Bhakti Yogi, and we discussed various advantages like maximum result, minimum effort, no qualification, completely sin-free, Krishna takes control, and a person reaches Golok Vrindavan. So this is what we discussed today, and my question to you today, which I would love to see in the comment section based on today's session, mention any one thing you would do to control your mind. So what is that one thing which you can pick up for your mind control? Leave it here in the comment section. A peek preview in tomorrow's session. So we will see the best way to gain spiritual knowledge. We will also see who are those people who accept Krishna as supreme and who are those who reject Krishna. We will see if there is one god or many gods, because in Indian families on our puja room, we have so many gods. So what about them? What is it about? So we will discuss that, and we would also see who can become a devotee. So with this, we are ending our session. Kindly leave your questions in the comment section. Also, we have this fantastic website, StudyGita.com. So I want all of you, my humble request, before going here and there, go to that website, attempt the quiz, because this quiz is to capture our learnings. So I request you tonight, now itself, the quiz has been uploaded. So go and attempt the quiz so that everything is strengthened there. Your class notes are also available on our website. Also, apart from this, there are many other courses. So if you want, you can check out our other courses at StudyGita.com. So taking your leave now, signing off, Sukirti Madhavi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,